No DQ Galaxy, we are live. Somehow it is still Sunday, May 28th, 2023, to discuss AEW Double or Nothing from Las Vegas, Nevada. A lot of matches, per usual, from AEW. They definitely believe in quantity when it comes to these pay-per-views, and quality is definitely there as well. We will talk about that here in just a few minutes. Shout out to everybody watching this, whether it's live or on demand. Much love and appreciation. And I did have Battleground on my phone as I was watching Double or Nothing on the TV. Checked out a little bit of Battleground, but not too much to say about it. It looked really good. I'll have to watch it later on. Not tonight, though. Let's get to Double or Nothing, everyone. Thank you again for tuning in. We had our buy-in / kickoff match, which was the Hardys versus Ethan Page and the Guns. The Hardys had Hook as their tag team partner. This was an awkward match because Jeff Hardy seemed off, and Jeff Hardy went up to the top rope and slipped. Now, it looked like a botch, but nobody was checking on Jeff, and then Jeff did get back into the match. Things broke down. The Hardys hit the twists of fate to the Guns. Ethan Page was all alone. He got triple teamed. He ended up tapping out to the Red Rum, and now Ethan Page, his contract belongs to the Hardys. I'm not sure what was going on with Jeff, but this match was a bit rough. We then had our first match of the evening, which was the Blackjack Battle Royal, 21 men. A bit of a train wreck. Orange Cassidy defending the international title. And regarding Jim Ross did commentary for the first half of the show. Now, he's done this before on previous pay-per-views. This isn't something new where Jim Ross was replaced halfway through. I think it's JR's bedtime after a certain time, and he can only do so much, but maybe he should not be doing it anymore. Like, he definitely screwed up a few times on commentary. This match was all over the place. Like, half of the field was brawling on the outside of the ring. Swerve and Keith Lee went at it for a bit, but only after several minutes, where Keith Lee was doing stuff in the ring and Swerve was on the outside of the ring, just standing there, not even getting into the match. Referees didn't try to get him in there or anything. And then you had the Lucha guys doing all these crazy moves in a battle royal, which makes no sense whatsoever. You have Komander running the ropes, but I guess since he never entered the match, he could get away with it. It was maybe not the right people in this match for a battle royal. Just saying. Like, if you're gonna have all the high flyers, like, they should try to win the match by doing normal moves that are not putting you at risk of being eliminated. So yeah, it was a bit of a mess, and Ricky Starks had a chance to shine in this match. He eliminated Jay White and Juice Robinson, but then got attacked, and Big Bill eliminated him. Final four in the match: Big Bill, Swerve, Penta, and Orange Cassidy. And it came down to Swerve and Cassidy. And this was the best part, when it was just these two at the end. I mean, honestly, I think they should have just done a singles match for the international title. I think that would have been way better than doing a battle royal. Just my take on it. Last few minutes here, when it was just Cassidy and Swerve, that was really good. Prince Nana tried to interfere. He grabbed at Cassidy's foot. Swerve and Cassidy were on the apron. Swerve went for a stomp off the top, but Cassidy countered, lifted his foot up, and then Cassidy kicked Swerve's hand as Swerve was trying to hold on to the rope. Swerve fell to the floor, and Orange Cassidy was your winner. Not really surprised. I think most of us on the No DQ predictions panel picked Cassidy to retain. Just would have been better as a singles match, in my opinion. I know you want to get everybody on the show, and this is a WWE problem too. You don't need to have everybody on the show. Like, I'm all for giving people bang for their buck, but we don't need a 4-hour pay-per-view. And I say this every single time. I would be totally satisfied with a 3-hour pay-per-view, and you just put your biggest matches with the best build on the show and just cut out the filler. And this was filler. It was fine, but it was filler. Crowd was all right. Interestingly enough, this was not a great crowd by AEW standards. Like, they were quiet for a lot of the show until the really top tier matches. It was not sold out, which is interesting because every other year in Las Vegas, they sold out instantly. This year, they did not. We had Chris Jericho and Adam Cole in an unsanctioned match, which was going to be a tough sell because you had the Anarchy in the arena later on. Sabu was out there as the special enforcer. He was out there with a chair. Roderick Strong had a chair. They fought off the Jericho Appreciation Society. Sabu and Jericho were swinging chairs at each other. 58-year-old Sabu got the best of Jericho. Now, granted, Jericho is like 50 now, but still, Sabu is getting the best of Jericho. And then I think it was Matt Menard, one of the 2.0 guys, like basically put himself on a table outside. Sabu went up to the top, and this is like 2 minutes into this match. Sabu jumps off the top and puts Matt Menard through the not the announce table, just one of the regular tables that were set up on the outside. Then everybody fought to the back, and it was finally Jericho versus Adam Cole. You had a fire extinguisher being used by both of them, and Britt Baker ended up running down, attacked Jericho with a kendo stick. Saraya ran down. She tried to interfere. Britt Baker chased off Saraya, and it was back to one-on-one in the ring. And somehow we had a chain brought into the match. It was almost like a dog collar / chain match. Both of them were linked to each other. And Adam Cole got the upper hand. He wrapped the chain around his knee, delivered the boom shot, and then he just started punching Jericho in the face repeatedly with the chain. Jericho was out. He could not defend himself, so the referee stopped the match. It was a referee stoppage, and the crowd did not like this finish. Like, there was very rare for an AEW match on pay-per-view where it was flat, like almost no reaction for Adam Cole winning this match. So whatever they were going for, it did not work here. And this match was disappointing for sure. I'm not sure what else they could have done because they were in a spot where they were, second on the card. Now, we've seen other AEW shows where the second match of the night is absolutely insane, but we had Anarchy in the arena, and there was only so much these guys could do in this match. So yeah, not too good, unfortunately. Not what you would expect from these guys, I think. And next up, we had FTR versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. Now, this was a pretty entertaining match. Mark Briscoe was the special guest referee, and I don't know if this needed to be on the pay-per-view, but it was entertaining for what it was. Quite frankly, I think this could have been on Dynamite. I don't think it needed to be on the pay-per-view. Like, I'm a fan of the titles being defended on the pay-per-view, but sometimes, again, you can cut out some matches, and I don't know if this match had a strong enough build to be on the pay-per-view. Jeff Jarrett was entertaining. He was trying to cheat, of course, and Mark Briscoe was not having any of it. And FTR, they were on the verge of winning. They double teamed Lethal with a Doomsday Powerbomb, but Sonjay Dutt pulled Harwood out of the ring, and then Mark Briscoe kicked Dutt and Satnam Singh out of the ringside area. Jeff Jarrett tried to use a guitar, but he missed and hit Briscoe by mistake. Briscoe was down. We had the ref bump, and Aubrey Edwards came down to try to be the second referee, but then Karen Jarrett hit Aubrey with the guitar. So that was interesting. Aubrey Edwards taking a guitar shot. Jeff Jarrett used another guitar on Harwood, hit the stroke, but no referee. Mark Briscoe was woken up. Harwood managed to kick out. Jarrett was pissed. You don't piss off Jeff Jarrett. He slapped Briscoe. Briscoe slapped him back, and then FTR hit the Shatter Machine. 1, 2, 3, got the victory. Match was fun for what it was, but again, I think this could have been on Dynamite, and you could have had a little bit of a shorter pay-per-view. We had Wardlow defending the TNT Championship against Christian Cage, TNT title, aka the hot potato title, ladder match. And Christian was trying to pick up the win early with the kill switch. Wardlow just too powerful. Went back and forth. Christian actually held his own for a while against Wardlow. And Wardlow was setting up tables on the outside. And this is one of the things I don't like about one-on-one ladder matches when they do stuff like this, like they start setting up tables, because I feel like it's dead air, basically. They have to take the time to set things up. In a tag match, you can keep the action going in the ring, and guys on the outside can start setting things up. I just think it's better when you have multiple people instead of just one-on-one. And we had interference. Wardlow was perhaps on the verge of winning here. But then Luchasaurus showed up, threw Christian back in the ring. And then we had Arn Anderson showing up. Wardlow climbed up to the top, jumped off the top. Christian was climbing the ladder. Wardlow jumped off onto the other side of the ladder, and basically the ladder collapsed. And thankfully, nobody was injured in this. Like, the ladder actually broke. Wardlow needed a second ladder, but then Luchasaurus chokeslammed Wardlow, and then Arn Anderson got into the ring. Luchasaurus was going to chokeslam Arn, but Arn actually bit the thumb of Luchasaurus and drew blood. Yes, Arn Anderson bit Luchasaurus, and Luchasaurus was bleeding. Fight went to the outside of the ring. Wardlow decided to take care of Luchasaurus, laid him out on the two tables, climbed up a ladder, hit the swanton, putting Luchasaurus through the tables. And then back in the ring, Christian tried to get the title, but Arn Anderson tipped over the ladder. And as Christian was falling, Wardlow caught him, power bombed him, climbed up, and grabbed the title to retain. Entertaining match, but this was again a little bit of a train wreck. It's funny, like the first three matches on this show, you had a ton of outside interference and just a million things happening. overbooked. I mean, I would definitely say these three matches were very much overbooked. Were they entertaining? Yes, but I do think at the same time there was maybe a little bit too much going on, and it's going to be easy to forget some of the things that happened just because there was so much happening with all the interference and such. But Wardlow retains, actually has a successful title defense, beating Christian, which I wasn't really surprised about. I would have booked that, but yeah, a lot happening here, and it was a good match though. It was pretty entertaining, and Wardlow took quite a few bumps in this one too. Next up, we had Jamie Hayter defending the women's championship against Toni Storm. Jamie did not come out there for her entrance. Her music played again, and as it turns out, she was jumped backstage by the Outcasts. They brought her to the ring. They triple teamed her, threw her in the ring. They targeted the arm. Jamie was asked by the referee if she wanted to go through with the match. She said yes. So the match officially began, and Britt Baker ran down, fought with Saraya. Ruby Soho sprayed Jamie in the eyes with their spray paint. And then Hikaru Shida showed up. She attacked Ruby Soho with a kendo stick. So again, another match with interference and all these different things happening. And at some point, Jamie clotheslined Toni Storm, but hurt her arm, which was already injured by the Outcasts. And then Jamie got sent into the exposed turnbuckle, and Toni Storm got the win with Storm Zero, winning back the title that she lost at Full Gear. I mean, we talked about this on the predictions video. Jamie Hayter was apparently injured, so they did a match with a lot of gimmicks and smoke and mirrors. But yeah, this was already on top of the other matches that had a whole bunch of gimmicks and weird stuff happening. So yeah, Toni Storm wins the title. I mean, not too much to say about this match. It was just lots of people running down and things happening. Then we had what we really did not need on this show, and that was an impromptu match. A House of Black open challenge accepted by the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn. Before the match, Max Caster did his rap, and he made a reference to Dominic Mysterio. He said that Buddy Matthews is getting cucked by a kid named Dominic. That was entertaining. I liked that. They did the house rules for this. Was a normal match at first, but then things started to break down. The big negative to this match is that they were working over Anthony Bowens, and they were targeting the knee, and it felt like this went on forever. Like, it just went on and on and on. Finally, after what seemed like 10 minutes, I don't think it was that long, but it felt like that, Billy Gunn got a hot tag, went for the Fameasser to Matthews, but then Malachi Black came in, kicked Billy Gunn in the head, and got the 1-2-3 victory. So, not much of a match. Could have just been on Dynamite. Did not to be on this pay-per-view. Next up, we had Jade Cargill defending the TBS championship against Taya Valkyrie, and both of them had special entrances. Jade had a rap entrance, and I actually thought this song was better than her actual AEW song. Pretty basic match here. The storyline was that Taya could use her finisher in this match. She could not in their previous match. Again, you had outside interference. Layla Gray grabbing the foot. Another match with interference. and it went back and forth for a while. It was definitely competitive. Taya hit her finisher, the road to Sarah Logan, but Jade kicked out of it. And then Jade recovered, picked up the win with Jaded, became 60-0. But then after the match, kind of like WrestleMania 9 with Yokozuna and Mr. Fuji, an open challenge was issued. Smart Mark Sterling said Jade would fight anybody, anywhere, anytime. And we got a surprise return of Chris Statlander, who's been out of action for several months. She came in, the match was started, and Jade got a little bit of offense, but Chris Statlander ended up pinning Jade Cargill, ending the streak. As Michael Cole would say, the streak is over. Chris Statlander wins, taking advantage of the open challenge. And there you have it. Jade's run is over as TBS champion. Now the question is, will Jade go for a rematch, or will Jade go on and maybe challenge for the women's title? I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. People did like the surprise, so I guess that's a positive. We then had what was not the final match of the evening, but they were building this show up as a double main event for Double or Nothing. And yes, I forgot to mention they had confetti for the victory as Chris Statlander celebrated her win. 4-way match for the AEW World Championship. I think this is the first time the world title match was not the final match of the evening, because Anarchy in the Arena, like, I think we all knew going in that was going to be insane. Sammy Guevara had an announcement. He brought out Ty Mello, his wife, and they revealed with the signs that they are expecting their first baby. So congratulations to them. Darby Allin's entrance, he had a video with an Elvis impersonator, and then he had an Elvis-inspired outfit. MJF had a special entrance, a little orchestral version of his music. He was coming down to the stage, sitting in a throne, and he was wearing the devil mask. Jungle Boy just had his usual entrance. Like, Jungle Boy doesn't do that crap. He's all business when he comes out there. This was a hell of a match. I mean, I've seen some really great 4-way matches, and the one that stands out to me the most is from the 2007 Backlash pay-per-view. This was on par with that. I mean, this might have topped that. One of the best, if not the best, 4-way match that I've ever seen. Just fantastic stuff here from everybody in this match. Awesome stuff. Everybody got a chance to shine. MJF was entertaining as usual. He was dropping F-bombs on multiple occasions, and he tried to get Sammy to lay down, saying that Sammy's going to be a dad now. He needs the money, and Sammy double-crossed him. The three of them were going after MJF at several points during the match, and there was also a point where everybody was using the finishers of their mentors. MJF used Crossroads, and they actually mentioned Cody Rhodes on commentary. So it's not like WWE where they ignore the guy that jumped ship to the other company. I guess that was cool. And lots of near falls, of course, with everybody. And there was like one part where each person had a submission on the other guy. So there was all 4 men in the ring with submissions on each other. It was pretty crazy. They did some creative stuff in this match. I have to give them credit for that. And then MJF was trying to pick up the win. Darby Allin hit MJF with his skateboard, came off the top with the coffin drop, and then he did the headlock takeover, which he kept mentioning on television. However, the pin was broken up. Jungle Boy prevented Darby from winning. And then MJF tried to use the AEW Championship on Jungle Boy, but Jungle Boy got the title away. And then Jungle Boy had a chance to perhaps win. MJF told him to do whatever it took to win the title in that promo the other week. But Jungle Boy, Mr. Goody Two-Shoes, wanted to do it the right way. He threw the title down and actually got booed for it, for not taking advantage of the opportunity. And Darby gained control, went for the coffin drop. He went up top, but then MJF put the title on Jungle Boy's chest. Darby Allin came off the top, coffin drop, but ended up crashing onto the title. MJF then pinned Darby with the headlock takeover. So after all that, MJF pinned Darby with the headlock takeover, won the match. Like I said, fantastic stuff here from everybody. And this was the first match. I mean, it had to come to the next to last match to where it felt like it belonged on this pay-per-view. Like everything else before was good or decent or not so good. But this was really awesome. Like this was pay-per-view quality for sure. So hats off to everybody in this one. Really great stuff. Then we had the second main event. Shit was about to hit the fan, proclaimed Justin Roberts as he started his ring introductions. We had this band, I guess they're called the Violent Idols. And one of the singer actually was like wearing blackface or a black mask. I'm not sure what was up with that, but they performed the song Wild Thing. And BCC came down through the crowd. And of course, the Elite went right after them, went into the crowd. And just like last year, they did this last year where the music just kept playing. Like they kept playing Wild Thing, I think for like 5 minutes as these guys brawled all around the place. So that's their gimmick here. They play the music as these guys are fighting, which makes for a fun atmosphere. And thankfully, they did stop it after about 5 minutes. The referee, well, I think there was like 2 or 3 referees because there's so much craziness. But yeah, one of the referees was busted open in all this. And as you would expect, Jon Moxley got busted open. Nick Jackson got busted open. We had a barbed wire poker chip that was by the stage, and there were several bumps with that. Omega got slammed into it, and then Omega gave Moxley a back body drop onto the barbed wire poker chip. Actually, Moxley gave Omega a superplex onto the chip, not a slam. And Moxley got a fork, channeling Abdullah the Butcher, stabbing Omega with the fork. So a little bit of a throwback to their unsanctioned match back at Full Gear 2019. And we even had the fight go into the concession area, and then outside the arena, Matt and Claudio fought on a pickup truck, and Claudio gave Matt a pile driver on the truck. They all eventually got back into the ring, and Moxley got thumbtacks. And then Matt Jackson came back into the match after he was pile driven on the truck. Matt super kicked. Who did he super kick? He super kicked one of these guys. I'm not sure who he hit with it, but Moxley came in with a super kick, Matt Jackson with a super kick, and his foot actually exploded. It was a literal exploding super kick. It was Moxley, by the way, because Moxley had the submission on Nick. So thank you guys for that. Moxley with the exploding, or not, man, I'm getting all mixed up here. Matt Jackson with the exploding super kick to Moxley. There you go. We're live, pal. But then they got their revenge because they took off Matt's shoe, and with the thumbtacks, they dropped Matt's exposed foot onto the tacks. And yes, this probably will get like 6 stars or something, so be prepared for that. Last year's, I think, got a really high rating, so I would expect it for this one because they went even more crazy in this match, as I figured they would. Things were not looking good for the Elite, but then Omega and Page, they were on the same page. Pun intended, I suppose. And they double teamed BCC. They were about to pin Bryan, but Yuta made the save. And then Don Callis showed up at ringside. Don Callis gave a screwdriver to Yuta. Yuta hit Page with it. And then Omega was about to finish off Yuta with the one-winged angel, but Callis got in the ring. Omega went after Callis, and who should show up but Konosuke Takeshita. He double-crossed the Elite, turned against them. Yuta pinned Omega and got the win. And I did miss something here. D. Martin 5th sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. Says, the Young Bucks super kicking the lead singer of Violent Idols to stop the music. Yeah, I totally forgot to mention that. They double super kicked him. He revealed a BCC shirt, and then they super kicked him. After the match was over, Callis was strangling Omega. BCC then had their big celebration. Bad guys win Anarchy in the Arena 2 years in a row. I kind of expected the Takeshita double cross because I should have picked BCC for this because as I mentioned before on the predictions live stream, I felt like this was going to set up Blood and Guts. And I even asked, is Blood on Guts 5-on-5? So there could have been a scenario here for Takeshita to turn, and then the Elite need a new 5th person. And Building Nexus brought up a possible candidate, Ibushi, for Blood and Guts. I could definitely see that happening where he's the 5th guy. I know people are talking about CM Punk. I would say that's very unlikely. Probably Ibushi will be the 5th guy, and they're going to do the Blood and Guts rematch. And I suspect that the Elite will get their revenge in that match. Really violent match. And I mean, I was thoroughly entertained by it. Like, I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but if you buy an AEW pay-per-view, Anarchy in the Arena, like, you're going to get this kind of match. So you should not be surprised in the slightest at this stage of the game. Like, you know what you're getting. You're buying this pay-per-view, you should fully expect that Anarchy in the Arena match to be one of the most violent matches of all time. And it definitely was. You had the fork, barbed wire, thumbtacks, the whole 9 yards, people getting strangled. Like, it was absolutely insane. With that being said, this was a 2-match show. The last 2 matches were excellent in different ways. I actually think I would probably say the world title match was the best match from a technical standpoint, but this match, I think, the world title, it was the main event of every other show. I think it was fine to change it up this time. Anarchy in the Arena, you're destroying the ring, you're destroying the ringside area. Like, it makes sense. Put this on last. Bad guys won both matches too. Rest of the show, not sure how I feel about some of the matches. Again, I think they could have trimmed the fat, so to speak. and they could have done a 3-hour pay-per-view and cut out a few of the matches, especially the trios match. I'm a big fan of the titles being defended on pay-per-view, but only if you got the proper build-up. Don't throw a cold title match on a pay-per-view. Just my opinion. Just for the sake of doing it, especially when the show is already long enough as it is. So I'm giving the show a B+. The two main event matches, I mean, they were on par with the Clash of Champions or Night of Champions main event as far as being great matches, but different. I mean, the Night of Champions main event was a great story. The four-way was a great wrestling match, spot fest, whatever you want to call it, and Anarchy in the Arena was just a tremendous brawl. So they were all great in their own ways. And the last two matches are definitely match of the year contenders, but the rest of the show, it was just okay for me. So B+, I think, is fair. And I think overall, I did like Night of Champions better just because it was shorter and the storytelling was on point. And WWE actually had a better crowd, which doesn't happen often. I thought that the Saudi Arabia fans were great. The Las Vegas crowd, not one of AEW's better crowds, unfortunately. They did heat up at the end, though, when, these guys basically have to damn near kill each other to get a pop, which is unfortunate. But yeah, it definitely wasn't one of those crowds where they were hot for everything. Like, these guys had to do certain things to get a crowd reaction. And Battleground, from what I saw, looked awesome. Like, the Dragunov match looked really good. And what I heard, it was great. And Tyler Bates' match was great. So I'll definitely have to check that out this week, and I'll let you guys know what I thought of the show. Hopefully they don't do this again. Like, don't go head-to-head with AEW. Like, come on. Just do your own night. And, I mean, it shouldn't have happened. They should just do separate nights because, I mean, you're just dividing the audience. Like, Battleground's probably going to be down, and we'll see if Double or Nothing was down. But yeah, it's counterproductive in my opinion. Anyways, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. I hope you enjoyed the recap. I would say this was probably the weakest Double or Nothing, just because most of the undercard was lacking. But the last two matches, I mean, were as great as any of the great matches in AEW history. Definitely top tier matches. And yeah, I think overbooked too. Like, you didn't need all the outside interference in the early matches. Really, you didn't even need the unsanctioned Chris Jericho Adam Cole match because, like, there was no way they were going to top the Anarchy in the Arena. But thank you all. Much appreciation and love. Dylan is back here with a $5 super chat. Says, sorry I've been MIA lately, but I've been busy training to become a pro wrestler. I'm training at the AAPW school in Austin. You'll be seeing me on TV. Very nice. Best of luck to you, Dylan. I hope it works well for you. And as I tell people that are trying to get into wrestling, make sure you watch WrestleMania 25, Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. Watch that match, study it, watch it 100 times if you haven't already. That would be my recommendation because those guys are the masters. And if you want to get great at wrestling, do what they do. Learn from them. That's my advice to you. And I hope you do well, Dylan, and hope to see you on a wrestling show one of these days. On that note, I'm out. It's almost 1 o'clock. Thank you all again. Much love and appreciation. And remember, say yes to NoDQ.com. Head over to NoDQ right now if you missed the show for results, video clips. Check all that out. All the latest news updates at NoDQ.com. Say yes to NoDQ, and I will see you all next time.